Welcome to a new episode of Galactic Geeks. I am your fellow Galactic Geek, EJ, and with us today we have, of course, as always, Alexis. Say hi to the lovely people.
It's your boy.
It's your boy. Today we're gonna talk about little things here and there. New York Comic Con occurred. That was a
Yes,
thing.
yes, that was a big event going on. I mean, New York has been in the con game forever. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, a con is basically a convention, short for convention, like a comic con, where people dress up in their favorite cosplay, and it involves everything like comic books and manga, anime, and all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. Remember that, people. It's the good stuff. And one of the first things I was going to mention is a personal favorite of mine. It's become a personal favorite of mine, although it may not be the biggest news out of New York Comic Con. Seth MacFarlane uh, announces the possibility of a second season renewal for his live action Star Trek homage, if you could hear the air quotes I'm doing, homage, uh, the Orville, which is,
Yeah,
if you've seen it,
that
it's Star
premiered
Trek.
recently, and that got a lot of good reactions. I heard good things about it. Haven't seen it myself, but Seth MacFarlane is a funny man, big fan of Family Guy, and to
Have you
see him
seen
live acting is pretty cool.
Have you seen the Rotten Tomato score on this show? It's amazing. It's
No, I bet
contradictory.
it's hot.
No, it is not. That's the funny thing. All right, let me throw this down to you. There's a little meme going around showing the Rotten Tomato score of the Orville and the Rotten Tomato score of Star Trek Discovery. Okay, Star Trek Discovery
Mm,
has like 80%. The Orville has 20%, right? But but the audience reaction for Star Trek Discovery is like 20%, and the audience reaction for the Orville is 90%. So
oh
the
wow.
critics and the
So yeah, it's
audience are
almost
complete
better.
parallels.
It resonated, probably connected better with fans.
Yes, I would say so. I'm having a lot of fun with it. Seth MacFarlane went as far as to get the guy who was the director of photography for the Next Generation. Just to give you an idea of how much of this,
Oh, nice.
again, air quotes, homage is.
Yeah.
We just saw a new
Is
episode,
it,
and
but
Jonathan
isn't that
Frakes directed
weird?
it.
Isn't that weird? Like a show being an homage, air quotes, to the original show, but yet a new iteration of that same original show is being premiered at the same time.
Yes,
Like,
it's very
isn't that
strange.
weird?
It is extremely strange. People are saying like, "Oh, this is a Star Trek Rewind," but it's called the Orville, and I haven't seen the new Star Trek show myself, but I hear people say it's too militaristic. It's gone to like, oh, the fighting, and it's not about the discovery, and the Orville
Yeah.
is about the discovery. So if you've seen the Next Generation, you've seen the Orville. It's just with Seth MacFarlane and a couple of jokes here or there, which isn't Family Guy vulgar. It's actually, I mean, it doesn't always hit the mark, but it's not vulgar comedy. It's like situational almost. But yeah, I mean, I like it. What else happened in New York Comic Con this week? We do have
There
the
was there was that Marvel. They pulled one of their booths or exhibits that they were gonna have. They pulled it. I guess it was this big controversy. The Northrop Grumman presentation. I guess it got some. They canceled it. It was gonna be a presentation. I guess a panel at this at New York Comic Con, and I
yeah,
guess some Twitter stuff happened, and then they pulled it.
that's the best way to
Um,
describe it. Some Twitter stuff happened. Yeah, I believe there was some sort of aerospace research development firm,
Oh,
aerospace and
basically, they were partnering with quote unquote warmongering weapon merchants.
yeah.
Uh, so I guess Northrop Grumman is a weapons developer.
I think
Uh,
they're aerial space development. I heard about this. I didn't read too much into it because then I got distracted by The Weeknd getting his own Marvel comic book. Did you hear
oh yeah,
about that?
I read that. That's pretty cool.
Starboy
Um,
#1. I saw the
wow.
Instagram post of that and I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous, and it's gonna be great for being ridiculous.
Yeah, and then I mean, with that a dude like that, I'm sure his own hairdo could get its own comic.
It's funny you should say that because The Weeknd teased it on his Instagram, and he teased it by only showing the art of his hair.
Oh, interesting.
See,
Nice.
you and him were thinking the same thing. It's amazing.
Well,
But
except I was just thinking of it as a throwaway thought that could be
exactly,
funny.
and he did too. It's a throwaway Instagram thought. He's not the one cropping it.
Yeah.
He's not the one sitting there
So,
cropping
how
his own
about how
image.
about we talk some Szechuan sauce?
Oh, did you go do it? Did you try to do it? All right, for the people
No.
who aren't
Okay,
completely
so I
aware,
guess
you Rick and Morty
background for
fans.
those that don't know what the hell we just referenced. Rick and Morty, the show, the awesome show, the season three opener, season three, episode one, basically talks about Szechuan sauce and how it was a great sauce that was only a promotional thing going on with Mulan for the 1998 film Mulan, and they were doing a promotional. So they did this sauce, right?
Yeah.
And basically, McDonald's brought back Szechuan sauce pretty much because of this Rick and Morty episode and the fan reaction it got. And then I saw some footage online, and I mean, when the Szechuan sauce ran out, fans were going nuts. Jumping on counters, picketing, and the whole deal, the whole 9 yards.
Did
So uh,
did you
that's
see the
not
people
always fun
protesting?
when a crazy show, cartoon show, interacts and affects real life.
Did you see the Twitter video going around of people like chanting, police holding them back? We want sauce. We want sauce in front of McDonald's.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It was
Personally, I wouldn't do that. I searched the other day on that same day actually for Sichuan sauce, and I found some for $4 online. So I'm not gonna riot
who did
just to
that?
get some
Because I've been
Sichuan
seeing it for
sauce.
like 200, $300 for two sauces.
But the McDonald's ones though, the the,
Oh,
sp-
well, I'm talking about
yeah,
the
those
McDonald's one.
specific ones that I guess McDonald's is doing re-releasing because of this promotion.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like
Um,
after the promotion happened, people were trying to resell like the sauce packets that they gave
yeah,
away that day. Which did you try to go get? Did you even like? Did you attempt?
no, I didn't. I
I
didn't. A
did.
couple buddies online I saw did that. There was a line wrapped around the entire Mickey D's. And I mean, I'm good. Like I said, I'll just buy some Szechuan sauce, non-McDonald's Szechuan sauce online for a few bucks, and that's it.
But it's about the McDonald's hype. All right, all right. You're just lying. But I'll tell you my experience. I went. I worked that Saturday morning and I got off at 1 p.m. and I'm like, oh, let me go. The McDonald's right next to me claims they have it because you had to go to the website to find out which McDonald's were carrying it, right? Not all of them were carrying it. I went,
Yeah.
the line wrapped around the goddamn McDonald's. I stood in line for like 10 minutes and some guy came out and said, listen, we only have 20 sauces. If you don't have a ticket, you're not getting a sauce. And then right before I left, some guy got out of the line and just yelled at the McDonald's employee, "What the fuck, Morty?" And then got in his car and drove away.
Oh my God, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
And speaking of Rick and Morty, I also ventured out to the Rickmobile that gave us a pleasurable stop here in South Florida at Tate's Comics.
Oh yes, yes. The Rickmobile did come by Tate's Comics. What was it, like a couple weeks ago?
It was I think about 2 weeks ago. I was able
Yeah.
to go. I waited in line from I crap you not 6 o'clock to 8:30 to get some merch. All right. We got the Rickmobile tour shirt. Thank God. Thank God we got that. We got a nice little exclusive Evil Morty pin and in a SEAL Team Rick mask,
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw that.
which apparently
Even
were
on
being
the-
given out for San Diego Comic-Con, and they were just selling what they had left over. And I was like, oh yeah, I got Comic-Con shit. What?
Oh, nice. I might have to trade you for that evil Morty pin.
Oh well,
Uh,
I don't know. That's Jack's pin. Yeah, he's not gonna. He's not jumping
Yeah,
that ship.
I also collect enamel pins. So for those that find some cool pins, definitely let me know. Always increasing my collection.
He collects enamel pins and loves Star Wars, ladies and gentlemen. And no, he's not single.
Tell him what he's won, Johnny.
This guy. Oh man, but the Rickmobile was fun. I didn't even get the chance to walk into Tate's Comics because that place was packed. There were two
Oh yeah,
lines.
we definitely gotta go. We definitely gotta one day just set aside just to go to Tate's Comics. For those that don't know, and no, I'm not getting paid for this plug, but Tate's Comics is awesome. The best comic book shop in South Florida, in my opinion. And it's got really good, just everything you can ask for. They got Marvel, DC, Star Wars. They got Walking Dead. They got a big Deadpool there, and they have all sorts of things. Really cool pouches and collectible figurines. They got everything. So Tate's Comics, check it out if you live in South Florida. Or even if you're not from Florida, you should still check them out.
And
And yeah,
with that non-direct plug, I want to go into one last piece of news, but we're not going to talk about it heavily because one of us has not seen it. The Last Jedi trailer hit, and while our Star Wars friend Alexis has not seen here, tell the people why you have chosen not to
yeah.
witness it.
Okay, so basically, no. As of today, this recording, actually Friday. Happy Friday the 13th, by the way.
Yay!
It just turned Friday the 13th, so
It did
hopefully
turn
no
Friday the
Jasons
13th.
or Michael Moore's run around. Anyways, I digress. Basically, no, I'm not gonna watch the trailer. I'm taking a stand. Uh, my Star Wars self, nerd self, is screaming at me right now
What are you doing?
because I am not gonna watch the trailer, and I'll tell you why. Because my Star Wars loving self will figure everything out. I mean, a 2.5 minute trailer, I think, from what I hear, and I will definitely connect the dots. Reading a lot of the novels and just kind of seeing the way things are going with the films, I can pretty much connect the dots pretty well. And from what I've read online and kind of what I've been hearing about the trailer, I think I pretty much know what will happen if I really watch that trailer. I've been getting flack from all my Star Wars buddies, all my friends, telling me to watch it. And what are we, day 5, I think, and I have not watched it. So I will go strong up until the premiere. I will make this a pledge right here, right now. I will not watch this the Last Jedi trailer, number 1, anyways. From who knows, there might be more,
Have you heard this? Have you
but I'm
heard
not
this
watching it.
blasphemy, people? Are you hearing this blasphemy? Let me tell you how real fanboys watch this. Am I calling myself a Star Wars fanboy? No, but I'm just a nerd fanboy. We saw that trailer, me and Jack here. We saw that trailer right away. Uh, and I'll tell you right now, it gave away too much. Too much was
Yeah,
given away. And
there
it,
you
you
go.
know,
That's the reason why.
it did that thing that some trailers are doing where it went to black, so you think it's gonna have like the title, but it didn't, and then
Yeah.
it just came back and it kept going. And we were like, no, that was the perfect stopping point. Why did you keep doing
Yeah.
that? And that's since I don't want to spoil anything for you, that's my only contempt with the trailer. It looks good. Uh it looks aesthetically amazing. It looks shot amazingly. I keep using the word amazing because I can't think of anything else to describe because it's a trailer. So obviously we have to wait for the film, which when does it
Yeah.
come out? December 7th?
December 14th.
14th. I
That's
was right if I doubled
that's yeah.
it.
I mean, officially it's December 15th, but December 14th is when they're showing the first showings, like the first nighttime showings. Like before, it used to be midnight showings the day of, but now it's like
Yeah.
the night before.
So that will be a fun day. But of course, Thor's coming out soon. Have you seen the
Oh
new
yes, we'll
Justice
definitely
League
do our
trailer?
Thor review.
Have you
Thor
seen
Ragnarok coming
have you
out November. What day is that one coming out?
November 6th, I believe.
Okay, November 6th.
But I'm just remembering this now. Have you seen the Justice League trailer? The new one, the newest one that dropped like during New York Comic Con.
No, I've seen bits and pieces of it, and it looks pretty fun from the bits and pieces I saw, like with Cyborg catching um, Aquaman like
Aquaman,
in
Wonder
midair,
Woman.
and
Yeah,
then him throwing him to I guess another bad guy, and and then him landing on Batman's Batmobile, and
it
it looks
looks
pretty fun.
it looks brighter. It looks
Yeah,
literally brighter, and I think that's Josh Whedon's work. Because if you saw the trailer before this one, it was dark. It was Zack Snyder dark. But
yeah,
it doesn't mean that he changed everything in it. But I'm starting to think Warner Brothers were pretty scared for this movie, and they're like, we need to fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. They like pulled Josh Whedon, took out Zack Snyder, even though he left for family tragedy purposes, and supposedly Zack
yeah.
Snyder chose Josh Whedon. But it's Hollywood, and I refuse to believe anything they tell us because they're scared about their product. But I'm gonna go see it. I mean, not out of obligation, but it does look interesting. So hopefully it's a fun ride, and it's not all. I feel like it's gonna be a lot more about Wonder Woman because her movie was successful.
Hmm.
But that's my two
Yeah.
cents in it. And once you
Uh,
put 2 cents in
yeah.
it,
I think it might. I don't know. Who knows? It might be better. Um, might be better than Wonder Woman, but I
here's
guess we'll
hoping.
see.
Here's
Because
hoping.
this is like the first. This is gonna be like the first like DC like Avengers type movie, like where you have different heroes coming in. So with Wonder Woman, with the success of Wonder Woman, it's gonna help it probably surpass it.
Well, I hope so for the DCEU, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It, time will tell, and this movie will tell us in time. And with that, I would like to go into the comics of the week, the pick of the pool list, the chosen of the I can't think of another C word that
Cr-
kind of sounds like
Cream.
no, the chosen of the chronicles of comics.
Okay.
There you go.
Nice. That's a good one.
It would have been more impressive if it was Frozen, but it was not. Um, the first one I want to get into because it's all about Batman. Not because it's October, but just because Marvel's not that great right now for me personally. But first one on the list I want to talk about real quick is Batman White Knight, written by Sean Murphy and art by Matt Hollingsworth. This is okay. Pretend you took Batman the Animated Series, you turned up the Frank Miller knob by like 15 to 20%. So it looks like if the Batman the Animated Series was in Sin City but with color and had like a punk aesthetic. All right, that's how it looks.
That, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds like a good mix.
That's how it looks, and that's how I like it. But the art alone doesn't tell the whole story. It's about the Joker. The Joker leads Batman on a wild like chase around Gotham with the Batmobile, and Batman doesn't seem to be caring about collateral damage, almost getting people hurt in the process. And then the Joker leads him into an FDA facility to dispose of pills,
Hmm.
and Batman's telling him like, "Oh, the usual crap the Joker kind of says," but he's presenting the argument that he's the bad guy in Gotham. You create the villains. I'm the cure. And or no, he doesn't say that. He says, "Or do you want to cure me?" And he gives him some pills that he randomly got, and Batman like literally grabs the pills, stuffs them down his mouth in front of the police after beating the living crap out of him. And somebody records it. It's on the news. People are asking, what do the police need to arrest Batman? And you think it's all just a bad press thing, but then it turns out the Joker had a side effect with those pills, and he's no longer crazy. In fact, he's super intelligent.
Ah,
So he's gonna sue the city, represent himself, and get out of there, and turn the city against Gotham because he wants to be Gotham's White Knight. And that is the
yeah.
plot of this story. That's the first issue, and it threw all that in my face. And I gotta say, the art and the story work together amazingly. I really recommend it, and that's what I gotta say for that one, because that was a ride, and I want to keep writing it.
Okay. Cool. All right.
The,
What else you got?
the next on the list here is a Batman Metal tie-in, which everybody knows Metal is the DC event going on right now, where the multiverse of the dark multiverse Batmans, led by God Barbados, wants to basically, the usual dark evil lord stuff, destroy the world, plunge it to darkness, you know,
Ah, same old global
same old thing.
domination.
And with those Batmans, and with those alternate Batmans, we get a story about each one of them. And if you've seen them, they all look creepy and individually disturbing in their own way. But this story is about Batman the Dawnbreaker, written by Sam Murphys and art by Ethan Van Sciver. Now, this is basically evil Green Lantern Batman. The art reminds me of normal Batman stuff that I usually read with DC. Nothing too amazing, but not bad. I liked it. It's great. But what surprising is the gore in this story, because it starts off with the parents getting murdered, but instead, right after it happens, a Green Lantern ring finds him because it senses he has no fear and immense willpower. So he takes the ring, he goes to find a killer, and he tells the ring to kill Joe Chill, and the ring's like, "Oh, we cannot. These rings are only meant to defend, not kill." And he
Mhm.
overpowers it with his own willpower and makes it kill him. Like teenage Bruce Wayne's willpower is so strong he can overpower a Green Lantern ring to do his own bidding, and uses it to murder Joe Chill. And he just grows up being like an evil, well, not an evil, but like he's killing villains. Yeah, at one point, he kills Gordon because he talks back to him. This is a very depressing Batman because he gained this infinite power from childhood, like instantly. Like no time to process grief or any of that. It's obvious like he was given this right away, and it's like a kid with a gun, you know.
Yeah.
But then when the world dwells into darkness, the Batman who laughs finds him and tells him, "Hey, there's a place with light. Let's drag him into the dark." But the two creepiest things about this is that one, he kills the entire Green Lantern Corps in his universe, including the Guardians, because he
Wow.
can do something with his ring called Blackout, where it absorbs all light and there's only darkness everywhere. So,
That
so
sounds pretty OP right there.
yeah, he pretty much absorbs the power light of the lanterns all around him. And now he's going to come to our world and do it, and it ends with into the main DC world to do it, and it ends with him confronting the main DC's Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and he's about to kill him, but then Doctor Fate swoops in and says, "You're not meant to die here, Hal Jordan," and takes him away to fight another day.
Ah,
Ooh,
like a fair godmother.
pretty much. And with that, I want to talk about one last one, another Batman title, and this is not by purpose. These were just the best books of the week. I can't help it. Batman number 32, written by Tom King, and art by Mikael Janin. Totally ruined that. I think it's Swedish. Uh, it is the conclusion of the war of jokes and riddles. The turf war between, well, not turf war, but the war for Gotham, between the Riddler and Joker. And it's the art's great. The Joker with not smiling is very disturbing. And the whole thing's basically a fight, like a hand-to-hand fight between Riddler, Joker, and Batman, as Batman's telling Selina Kyle like how this horrible story of his ended because he's telling her the story of something that happened a year ago. This is how this whole thing ends.
Oh,
And
okay.
and then and like he's kicking Riddler's ass, and Riddler's like, "Is he laughing? Is the Joker laughing?" He's like, "No." And then like, he starts to fight him again, and Riddler's like, "No, don't you get? Not every story's about you." And he made it sound like he did this whole turf war to get Joker to laugh and just be the one that makes him laugh. That's what it seemed like. But I may be misinterpreting that. But
Yeah.
but then Batman just got so pissed because he's like, the Riddler killed this boy. He killed Kite Man's son, and he's like boiling that over in his head. And then he grabs a knife. He grabs like basically a machete. He grabs a knife and he lunges towards the Riddler's face with full intent to kill. But then the Joker blocks it with his hand, lets the knife slide through his hand, and he just says, "Now that's funny," and just starts laughing maniacally. He
Oh,
stopped
nice.
he stopped Batman on purpose from killing the Riddler. And then when Batman asks him later, like, "Why did you stop me?" And he just tells him, "You know what the difference is between a joke and a riddle?" And Batman's response is, "I don't know." It's like, when you find that out, you'll figure out your answer. And then the big ending for the
Oh,
whole thing is that Selina says yes to his proposal for marriage. So Batman and Catwoman are going to get married.
yeah.
Yeah, but I
Big,
gotta say,
big
that,
wedding bells ringing.
yeah, but screw the wedding bells. That moment when he lunged his knife towards the Riddler, I was like, no, what? He's gonna kill him. He wants to kill him, and having the Joker stop it, it just makes the whole relationship dynamic weirder. Uh,
Yeah.
but that
Because
was
then it's like, is he with the Riddler then? Does he not want to kill him?
I think he didn't want Batman to like. I feel like he just didn't want Batman to be a killer, at least not be a killer for the Riddler. Yeah, I want to say it's like, oh, if you're gonna break and kill somebody, it's gonna be me, you know. But it's funny that you broke for the fucking Riddler.
Yeah.
But I know because the Riddler sucks. That's my opinion. But whatever. Hey,
Yeah.
um, last on the comics list though, it's time for the Star Wars corner here with Darth Vader #6. Did you gave this a little read through just now, right?
Yes, yes. It was a good issue. This is like one of those issues that you're like, okay, this is where it starts to get good. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is maybe one of somebody's favorites from this series, Vader. But basically, it starts off with Emperor Palpatine basically strutting into this med bay where Anakin, or rather Vader slash Anakin, pretty much, he's healing from his fight with Jedi Master Kurta, which he ended up, as if you've been reading up until now, he basically won his lightsaber in basically a battle to the death with this Jedi Master,
Mm-hmm.
and he brings it. He eventually brings it to Palpatine, and then, but right now he's healing, and so then the Emperor visits him, and then he basically says, you have ruined yourself. And he says it like in this like slick, patronizing tone, like giving that evil grin, like oh
Yeah.
like you failed a little bit, like come on, you could do better. Um, and so then he basically is kind of talking to him. He's like, oh, I feel your anger. Um, and then he basically says his armor from where he was healing, because he's in a back to tank right now, so his armor's like sitting on like this table. And then as Emperor Palpatine's leaving the room, um, he's like, "Oh, you can put your skills as an engineer to use and rebuild the suit as you wish. It's a part of you, basically." And so then, while in the back to tank, Vader, uses the Force to build rebuild the armor, um, part of which was destroyed by the fight. And that was actually kind of cool because it was basically like a callback to Anakin's skills as an engineer, or
Hmm.
as a droid maker when he was a kid. So it's kind of cool that they're tying that into into this character, this full view of Vader that we're seeing now after the prequels. So then then it skips to an intruder, um, basically intruding into the Jedi Temple. Um, and so then the alarms go off, and then as Vader's finishing the last touches on his armor, he gets called to deal with this intruder. So then Vader tracks down the intruder, and the intruder makes it to the archives, the famous archives that Anakin wanted to get into. Um, when he made it onto the council.
And lo and
So
behold,
what was that?
who is it trying to break into the Jedi archives?
The Grand Inquisitor himself. And at this second, he's not the Grand Inquisitor, but we know him as the Grand Inquisitor because he's
Rebels.
from Rebels. And he basically starts fighting Vader because Vader's defending the archives, and the Grand Inquisitor was trying to get into that archive. So they have a cool little short fight, and it kind of appears that the Grand Inquisitor has like the better of Vader, but Vader then says, "Oh no, I'm just testing out the new suit." And so then the next move, he pretty much breaks the Grand Inquisitor's spinny lightsaber up. So that was pretty cool because Palpatine was testing not only Vader, but he was also testing the Inquisitor. And so then Palpatine shows up and he basically says, this is the Inquisitor. He's the first of the Inquisitor, and then at the same time explaining to Vader who they are. So it's basically kind of like growing pains on both of them.
Yeah,
It's almost like two brothers, and the trying to impress the dad, you know.
pretty
And
much.
so yeah, so then basically Palpatine says that the Inquisitorius, which are the Inquisitor group that the Grand Inquisitor leads, they belong to the Sith, and like right there, he's basically setting the hierarchy. Like, okay, I'm on top, Vader's second, and then you guys are under him. So it's like, then at that moment, the Grand Inquisitor is like kneeling. So then they end up then jumping on a ship and then flying across Coruscant to the Works, which we actually see in the films in Attack of the Clones Episode 2, right at the end where Count Dooku brings the Death Star plans to Palpatine. It's Palpatine's in the Works, that kind of like industrial, kind of seedy corner of
Hmm.
Coruscant. And then there, you basically meet Team Inquisitorius, which are all the Inquisitors that Palpatine has been training, apparently, for a while now. It kind of seems like he's been training them for a little bit. And this comic is pretty much right after Episode 3, so even Palpatine says that as they're walking to the headquarters, he basically says, "Yeah, I've been planning this for a long time." So it's kind of, you got a cool group shot of most of the Inquisitors we know from Rebels, which is the Seventh Sister, which is voiced by
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Sarah Michelle Gellar. That's right. I just kept thinking Buffy. So, and then the fifth brother, which is the guy. His character design is actually interesting because he was originally his character design was meant for The Force Awakens,
Oh,
kind of like a Kylo Ren prototype design, and then they ended up using that design in Rebels, the new
that's
season
cool.
at that time.
See, that just makes it more
And
authentic. You know,
sorry,
like,
what was that?
oh, that just makes like the show more authentic when it's like, hey, we didn't use this for the movie, but it still feels Star Wars enough, so let's put it in our
Right,
show.
right. It's all one thing.
If we don't use
And
it for
then you
this, we'll use it
got
for
the
that.
other Inquisitor that you know noticed from Rebels is the eighth brother, the Torellian Django Jumper or something like that. I think I'm mispronouncing it. But he's the one that you see for those that have been following Rebels. He's the Inquisitor that fights Maul, the one that ends up dying by falling off, pretty much the temple in Malachor 5.
Hmm.
The one that you don't see his face, basically. He's the only Inquisitor in the series so far that you don't see his face. So, but he ended up dying pretty much like that same episode. So, but anyways, you see him here along with the rest of the Inquisitor team, and Palpatine describes them as hunters, one and all.
Ooh.
So, yeah, we basically see their prowess in the Rebels. So, for those that don't want to, look into the Inquisitor, the now new canon Inquisitors, which serve under Vader. So basically, Palpatine explains to Vader that he says, "You will teach them." Basically, you're gonna teach them to hunt Jedi. And then right at the end of the comic, he says, "You will hunt the Jedi. There is no greater threat to our empire."
So we're gonna
Um,
see all the Jedi's that survived execution order 666. Was it 66 or 666?
uh, 66.
66.
Yeah.
You can understand why I would think there
Yeah,
was an extra six there.
and he even mentions it. He says the luckiest, the deadliest, Jedi are the ones that survived Order 66. So,
And we see some
obviously
peaceful
talking about
grandma.
Yoda and Obi-Wan. So, yeah, it was a very good comic. Probably one of my more favorites from the Vader run now. I really like how they're just continuing this whole trend of connecting the prequels, the Rebels, and then even the sequel trilogy. Um, of course, with that fifth brother, but he's
Hmm.
more for Rebels. But there was another Inquisitor in that same group that we get introduced to. That his design is from also the Force Awakens, but like I guess they made the alien species because of that one character that you see in the cantina scene. Um, for those hardcore Star Wars fans, the one that he's like the big guy sitting on the chair that he has those double chin horns. There's one of the Inquisitors is his race. So,
Hmm.
just connecting everything,
It's all connected.
all the Star Wars eras. And great artwork, very very crisp artwork. Like some of these shots were like taken straight from the movies, like the one I mentioned, like that they were flying to the works, the industrial zone. Like that same shot of the ship flying there was pretty much from Episode 2. And then you see the temple, you see the archives, um, where Obi-Wan is trying to find, searching the records in the computer, like that area. They mimicked and they wrote that in, penciled, colored that in. And then the story overall is basically taking like a fun turn as like Vader is like continuing his transition to the dark side, like how Palpatine is just slowly just molding him into his right hand enforcer. And it's really cool to see that how they're fleshing this out.
As we keep going, yeah, they seem to be putting a lot more forethought into connecting their own dots in the Disney Star Wars universe. Are we calling it the Disney Star Wars universe?
Well, it's
Because there was
canon.
like the
I mean,
extended
it's
universe
canon. It's not
before.
really fair to call it Disney or even I was guilty of saying it earlier. The new canon, like it's canon. Like you just have to say it for what it is. I mean, Legends is Legends and canon is canon.
Well,
So,
speaking of
um,
multimedia canon, that's it for our
yeah,
comic talk for this week. But another thing about Star Wars canon is that it even happens in video games, like Star Wars Battlefront 2 and the multiplayer beta that just dropped on the PlayStation Network and I believe Xbox, but I don't know because I don't have an Xbox, so fuck you.
yeah, it's on Xbox too.
Shh, those aren't people. All right, they're God damn it, I was gonna say that Star Wars line. They're a threat to
To our empire.
they're a threat to our empire. I thought there was
Yes,
more to that line.
Battlefront 2 beta was awesome. I kind of jumped on it a little bit late. I downloaded it the first night and then wasn't able to play it until like actually the next night, which was way too long in my opinion. But um, it was really good. I like it. I like Battlefront 2. My favorite mode was the Galactic Assault. I liked the ground assault, and the classes are really cool. Definitely bounce between the heavy and specialist class. Uh, but I don't know, the heavy was just so fun to play with.
I only touched up a little bit on it, and the only thing I did was the dog fights.
Oh, the
Uh,
Starfighter,
yeah, the
Starfighter.
Starfighter, and while I do admit it looks amazing, um,
Yeah,
I didn't get to do enough of it to give it a fair judgment. But like, it looks great. It looks great. I didn't even get to do the ground assault. I didn't get to do any of
yeah.
that. The galactic assault.
Well, we'll take it from someone who did both Starfighter and the ground assault, and at least I probably put about 10 hours into it,
Damn.
and yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I mean, I really tried to get my open beta's worth of gameplay.
That's nice.
Uh, I like this kind of. Well, I kind of like how they're implementing the new system of crates. Like you basically get loot boxes, and in those loot boxes come three items, and they're random. Could be ranging from credits, spare parts that are used to uh, upgrade moves and weaponry. And then you get these kind of like cards. It's very similar to star cards from the first Battlefront, but these they kind of go a little bit more specific, boost up very certain things, recharge time and accuracy and damage, stuff like that. Uh, but yeah, it kind of adds a whole market transaction for this type of stuff, which is good. They're kind of going more RPG like, which I like. But yeah, the customization. I mean, the classes are really cool, but I mean, I don't know how the full game's gonna be, but yeah, I definitely would. Am gonna want more customization. Uh, I liked how they did that with the first Battlefront, the customization a little bit. It was really just the faces, but I hope they go a little bit more in detail with
Armor,
Battlefront 2.
body, yeah, a lot more individuality with more than just the head, basically.
Yeah, yeah, but the gameplay is really good. It's slick. It looks just as good, if not better, than the original Battlefront. The flight control is a little bit harder for me this time around. I feel like with the first Battlefront it was a little easier, but that doesn't mean that I don't like it. It's just a little bit harder, and it's actually more true to flying. Like it kind of reminded me of like the old school flying games, where it's like you gotta like pitch and like yaw, like you gotta you can do some fancy flying with them with this new system. Weaponry's cool. I feel like it's easier to shoot down enemy ships. Yeah, and it's the modes with Starfighter are pretty cool. Like it's not just defeat the enemy ships. It's okay. You gotta defeat this particular ship and then knock down the shields and knock this antenna off and stuff like that. So it's adding a little bit more depth to Starfighter Solid as well.
When does it come out?
Yeah, November 17th.
Mm.
Which oddly enough, that's when the original Battlefront 2 was released as well. So, but yeah, it's fun. You can rack up some kills. You can lay traps, things like that. You can do more strategy with this time around. If I'm a heavy class, I'm gonna be more in the middle, and then if you're like a specialist or maybe an officer, you're gonna kind of hang back a little bit, provide buffs. I was able to play with Darth Maul and Rey. Maul's so fun to play with. He's just a beast. Wherever he is, he's just the center of attention. When you're with him, you're like, okay, let me follow this guy, and when you're against him, you're like, okay, I gotta kill that guy. So Rey was cool. Also able to play with Han a little bit. Real fun stuff. I'm definitely, I got hooked by playing the beta.
He's hooked. They got him. It's over. Hook, line, and sinker. Before we head out, I want to mention one little thing about a game I like to enjoy playing. Friday the 13th just got a recent update where they added in more maps and an extra player, a counselor that looks suspiciously like a weed smoking hippie.
Let me guess. Willie Nelson.
He looks more like Cheech Marin, but
Oh,
I
I
just
see.
wanted to throw that out there. Well, before we go, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Galactic Gcast. Email us at galacticgeekspodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on iTunes, SoundCloud. We even got YouTube up. We also have
Facebook,
a Facebook, of
Instagram.
course. Facebook, Instagram at galactic.geeks. Uh, and until next time, Hail Hydra.
And may the force be with you.
Or you could follow us on Instagram at Galactic Geeks, galactic.geeks. Blah, 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 blah. You know what? I'm going to cut this out and start over.
All right,
Mm,
Morty. You're starting to babble.
I know. Roar.